Welcome, Pisces, your May Moon Magic 1 month forecast for the Ascendant, the Sun, or the Moon. There are 5 key lunations in May, 2 of them quarter moons, always influential. But the moon's very much about protectiveness, nurture, and security. But those lunations are all going to be challenged by the potent energies of the assertive Mars and the planet of transformation, Pluto. I'm going to share each of the events on screen, but from a purely Pisces perspective. At the end of the video, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So Pisces, when we come into May, we're met with that Scorpio full moon. Very intense. But for you, it's in the 9th house, which is about your higher purpose. Can be your love of travel and being a free spirit, but the sun is in the much more functional, earthy Taurus. The practical realities of quick communication, the text messages and emails we have to respond to. But what makes this a particularly highly geared full moon is the role of Pluto. Pluto's dissecting the position of the moon and the sun in a T-square, but for you, it's in the 12th house. Deeply psychological. It's also going into its retrograde on the 6th of May for a 5-month period. But for you, this can arouse some very deep subconscious energies, which can feed into your discussions, your conversations, your dialogue, your mentality, your beliefs. It's very, very strong. So through the first 2 weeks of this month, the chances are that some very tender stuff could come up and out into the open. But the key is being available to process it, not withdrawing. We also have at the start of the month Mercury, the planet of communication, in an ironic conjunction with Chiron, the so-called wounded healer. So if you do need to talk about something, be in touch with your core values. It won't see you go wrong. But Saturn, the planet of limitation, which is going to be in your sector of everyday finance for the next 2 years, actually forges a very stable link to Venus, the relator, at the start of this month. So if you do need to talk about something, you can do it constructively. And Venus is just saying to use some diplomacy, so your words and your ideas will land all the better. But Mars, the planet of passion, is in a square with Jupiter at the start of this month. And Jupiter, of course, is your traditional ruler. That's a very enthusiastic right angle. It's possible that if you're wanting to be more speculative around your resources, the risk taker that Mars is in Aries, and Jupiter being very much about expansion and chance, you may go for it in the 5th house. It's something you have a choice over, but it's just something that may call out to you. But by the 9th, we get the quarter moon in Aquarius. Quarter moons are when the sun and the moon are at 90 degrees, a square. But the moon, like Pluto, is in that 12th house. So for the following week, I still think more stuff can come up and come out into the open. Perhaps your subconscious is going to release information, perhaps through dreams. It may be that other people make observations about your approach, which you're not expecting. There's the sun at 19 degrees, squaring with the moon. That can create tension. But Mercury, the planet of communication, moves into Taurus on the 3rd of May and is playing catch up with the sun. And by the middle of the month comes into an exact conjunction, a cazimi, which is very helpful to you to try to sort out this sense that maybe things have been not said that are now being said. It could be by you, it could be by other people. You may feel that some people are being a bit perhaps disloyal or perhaps insincere, but there may be a good way to approach this, and that is when it's out, it's for the best, because there be no secrets. And I think as Mercury advances towards the sun at the heart of the month, you will see the benefits of that. But you know, your month starts to pick up from the ninth because despite that potential for those delicate issues to surface, or perhaps some gossip to be doing the rounds, the sun starts to apply to Jupiter in a wonderful sextile, one of astrology's luckiest links. Your powers of persuasion and enthusiasm will reach an all-time high at this point. And if there is someone you're attracted to, you'll certainly find the right approach to reach out to them. That brings us, however, Pisces, to the middle of the month and the new moon. It's a super new moon. I don't believe that that has a particular astrological impact, unlike a full moon, which obviously we can physically see. New moons are very hard to see. Sometimes you can see just the outline, which is actually quite exciting. But what we do have is the moon is exalted in Pisces. And your words, which may have felt fallen short, may have not made an impact, may have felt that other people weren't tuned into in the early part of the month, really start to have an impact. And it's not just your enthusiasm that you had with the sun and the sextile to Jupiter. I think you can actually structure your ideas better, which can be a challenge for Pisces people because you're so mutable. Things are always shifting and you can be very emotional. But I think it can all come together very well on that new moon. But also Venus, the planet of relating, but also money, forges a fantastic sextile to the position of Mars. If you do have a hobby that you run or would like to convert to something that earns money, something like that could really start to monetize for you from this point. Mars is also in a conjunction with Chiron. If part of the wound that's been aroused by that very tender Pluto energy has been that you haven't been quite conscious of certain parts of your nature, and people have told you that, the second house can be how we value ourselves. And Mars and Chiron can just give you the urge to take it, challenge yourself, face on. If there's something that's been tricky or awkward or tender that's come up, talk about it because actually it could be very healing for you, I feel. Now, that takes us through to the quarter moon on the 23rd. And what's intriguing is the sun moves on the 21st for you into your fourth house. You could find yourself moving the furniture around, quite literally, or decluttering. You may want to make your home much more functional over the next 7 years, or you could want to do something really fresh and different and innovative. That idea to work from home can just grow stronger because this collective here are asking you to be more inventive about how you live and how you feel. But their square, the sun and Uranus to the moon, is challenging. And if that tension that was there at the start of the month around a relationship where perhaps someone has told you things that have been difficult for them to say or you to hear, or vice versa, there may be a repeat at this part of the month. And it could get very tense because by then Mars may be forging a fantastic link to Venus, wonderful for your love life if you're meeting someone new. But if you're trying to unpick a complex past relationship, Mars is square to Pluto suggests either you or they may find your emotions really close to the surface through the last 10 days of this month, and it could get somewhat explosive. You have a reputation of being very sensitive, very caring, and very nurturing, which can all be merited. But I think Pisces people are very complex. You can also have a very cool side where you detach, particularly if people disappoint you. You're also so much of a giver. If you give so much and then someone doesn't recognize or appreciate it, that's when you can feel furious that they're not appreciating just how much commitment you've shown. So there can be some of that towards the end of this month, and it could be around a family or very close relationship. Just bear that in mind. However, that brings us to the blue moon at the end of the month. Remember, we started the month with that conversation between the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Taurus. The conversation at the end of the month sees the moon in a very visible part of your scope. If you're not enjoying your work, the chances are you could think about leaving your job because being free of negativity and an energetic exchange, which is just so draining, could be something you just feel you have to do. But I feel that part of it is because Mars and Pluto are still battling it out. If you feel that someone's against you, you're not going to want to take a backward step. But you may reach the point on this particular full moon that if you're not going to cultivate a better relationship, it may be better for you to start afresh. Now, just to reassure you, as we go into June, Venus and Jupiter are going to come into a fantastic conjunction on the 9th, which is very rare, but also very lucky. But that can give you a recharge, a new beginning. So if something does come to an end at the end of this month, try to be philosophical about it, whether it's about your work or whether it's about a relationship. And one of the reasons the end of this month is so complex is not just because of the full moon, it's because of Uranus's T square to the nodal axis. The North Node has been pushing you since January 2025 to really be in touch with your destiny in terms of expressing your individual flair and creativity. Whereas the South Node is very much about where you may retreat if you feel challenged, like people pleasing, to be honest, the seventh house. But what Uranus is doing in the fourth house could evoke some very intense, quick emotions blowing up if you feel that, again, the give and the take has not really been recognized. So I think that is quite the theme for this month. So I think you're going to have a lot of conversations, but I think you're going to learn a lot about how people view you. And it may not be how you view yourself, which can be hard to hear. But it also could be you who's ventilating some deep energy, perhaps things from your past. But the other thing I want to remind you of, Pisces, is Pluto in the 12th house gives you an opportunity to reuse and recycle old skills, experiences, and knowledge in a fresh way, but it also will require you to evolve. So, for all of us, staying exactly as we are is simply not an option as we come to the end of this month. So, to summarize, as far as your energy is concerned, I think that at the very start of the month, that high energy third, ninth house full moon does suggest that you'll want to be active and move around. But psychologically, if there is a lot of stuff going on, there's interactions backwards and forwards, but it's not quite clear. I think it could prove to be extremely exhausting. You need to make sure that you're aligned with the right people. Now, from the second half of the month, your physical energy improves with Mars's help, and certainly your social and romantic situations can also be rebirthed too. That's lovely. But then in the last 10 days, that electric energy around your emotions is switched on to max, really max, and particularly with that quarter moon in the sign of Virgo, and then the Uranus T square with the first with the nodal axis. When it comes to your financial situation, Saturn is in the second house. It is asking you to use the resources you've got cannily, but Mars is there as well. And if you recall, does forge that square with Jupiter at the start of this month. If you are someone with the confidence and panache to do something that is more speculative and a bit riskier, then it could pay off for you. But I can't tell you for sure it will, because it just depends on your judgment and what you're trying to do, and also your experience. Now, when it comes to your professional situation, I think that if you don't like the people very much, and it is a bit of an atmosphere there, that could see you think again. But from a completely uniquely romantic viewpoint, the second half of this month, if you get together with the right person or the right social group, could be a lot of fun. You can download my free moon factoid, Pisces. It tells you all about the astronomy, the astrology, the mythology, helps you to understand or gives you an interpretation, sorry, for each of the zodiac signs for the moon, but also the houses and also the blue moon. Every just over 29 days, the moon goes through its entire journey. Multiplied by 12, it's just a bit more than 365 days. So every 2.7 years, we have the blue moon. And the blue moon, I feel, doesn't have an astrological context beyond there being two full moons in the month. It doesn't even look blue, but it is intriguing, the moon cycle for sure. And that's why I've done this forecast in this way. I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. You pay for your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that are played out so far, but get a more intimate understanding of them and work with those energies future forwards that much better. Free, you get your 12 months transit forecast and also your draconic soul karmic analysis. 3 for the price of 1. Please see below for more. Why? I've been full-time for 30 years, but my interest in astrology came through when I was 14. The first classical album I ever got was The Planets, which is about astrology, not astronomy. And ever since then, it's been a major part of my life. Natal astrology helps us to really navigate this particular journey that much better. By sharing the love about natal astrology, I hope to help others too. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your May monthly forecast, please see that on the screen. Yet to watch your Pluto retrograde 5-month forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do so now. Get that early day celestial pit stop. Thank you so much for joining me. Wishing you all the best for May. Take care and look forward to seeing you again soon.